But I think we got to start with Patrick Mahomes right there, right? You know, doesn't have a great PFF grade, but does come away with the win. And overall, a decent fantasy day, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, rock solid. Obviously, the ball being spread around in this offense yet again. I think we know that's going to be a theme this year. The Chargers also had some big-time performers even in the loss. But a Thursday night football game that had a lot of hype, and it felt like it lived up to it. Besides one guy that's kind of on the outside looking in, Juju SmithSchuster today.
I have a contrarian take on Juju SmithSchuster.
Okay.
I'm in. I'm buying the dip. Look, he had a really good game week 1, right?
Absolutely.
He was bad last night. I get it. He was 3 for 10 yards, 3 targets. All right, so bad, right? Not good. Hashtag not good. His average depth of target in week 1, 10.3. His average depth of target last week, 1.3.
Big dip.
They turned him back into Pittsburgh Juju. So I don't understand it. I don't understand what Andy Reid was doing. Here's my thought process. Felt like they were playing him deep. You know, a lot of times people try to take the Chiefs out of the game and Mahomes out of we're gonna play too high deep. We're gonna try to take
dink and dunk.
We'll let you dink and dunk us. And it was working there for a while. And you saw the Chiefs react by, hey, we're gonna go more run heavy. We're gonna dump off more to the running back. And so they use that. The point I would make here is that last year, Tirico Hill, the great Tirico Hill, we all agree Tirico Hill over Juju SmithSchuster, right?
Sure.
Tirico Hill last year had 6 different games with under 10 fantasy points. And so if that's Tirico Hill, if Tirico Hill had 6 different games last year with under 10 fantasy points, and I don't think anyone thinks back on last year, it's like, it was a down year for Tirico. Tirico was really good for fantasy last year, right? So if he had 6 different games with under 10 fantasy points, with single-digit fantasy points, that's obviously going to be part of the game with Juju SmithSchuster. Next week when I do my rankings, the highest-ranked Chiefs wide receiver I'll have will be Juju SmithSchuster. I think he's the most talented on this team. I think some days you're going to have games like this. It was a weird game. It's a short week against a division rival that knows them well. I'm going to bet on the talent of Juju and him getting more of a connection as the season goes on with Mahomes.
I think it's great because let's not overlook the Chargers defense is good.
Yes,
they've spent a lot of money on this defense. They've drafted a lot of pieces. They've invested so much in this defense. You have Derwin James patrolling the middle of the field, which made it an interesting night for Kelsey. There was a lot going on here where if you look at it, you're like, you can't overreact. Now, I like what you said, though, buy low. Maybe there are some people that are panic selling Juju. He's not going to be dropped by any stretch of the means, but you're not sitting him.
No, you're not dropping him. Again, it's going to be dependent. He's a wide receiver 3 with upside, which, by the way, is what you drafted him as. And so he's had one good week. He's had one bad week. By the way, you know what else we could say about that? Mike Williams, and we'll get to him in a second.
Yeah.
But, it's the NFL. The amount of wide receivers that have consistently high games week to week to week to week are not, are few and far between. There's not a ton of guys like that where you're like, that guy is always 15 points every single week. Right? So, anyway, I am less concerned about Juju SmithSchuster than I think a lot of fantasy managers are. It was a bad game. It's disappointing. But for me, I'm still in on the talent. There's a tweet. I want to show this tweet. Can we show that tweet? This tweet drove me crazy. Here's a tweet. So this is from at the PointsBet USA, and it's the meme of the girl that's crying during the dance. You've seen it a million times. Yep. And Juju SmithSchuster after finishing tonight's game with 2 catches for 17 yards. That's a tweet. First off, Juju isn't feeling sad at all. Juju got a W. Juju doesn't care. If you want to say Juju SmithSchuster fantasy managers, okay, fine.
Yeah. But
I got news for you. Whoever runs the PointsBet Sportsbook social account. Juju's not worried about the fact that he only got 2 for 17. And by the way, you even got the stats wrong on your tweet, by the way. It was 3 for 10. 3 for 10. If you're going to troll a guy, at least get the stats right. By the way, stuff like that, I was going to use a different word. Stuff like that drives me crazy. When we troll, I don't know why anyone trolls NFL players. You want to troll an NFL player? You want to troll a fantasy manager? You want to troll me for saying, oh, Barry had Juju on his love list? And I didn't have him on the love list, by the way, to be clear. But, you want to troll me? I get wrong calls. You want to troll me? Fine. That's part of my gig. That's what I signed up for. But, I don't know, man. That's the dumbest tweet I've seen because it's Juju is very happy. Trust me. If you said to Juju SmithSchuster, hey, you're only going to have 3 for 10 every week, but you'll go undefeated, he'd sign me up. I'm playing the Super Bowl. Sign me up.
And let's be real. It's not like Mahomes threw for 350 and he just was sitting in the corner, not a part of it. It's the flow of the game.
They ran the ball well and they got a pick 6. They were cheated of at least one offensive possession because they got a 99-yard pick 6. Anyway,
I want to go, though, stay with the Chiefs, but go to a different wide receiver that I think the panic level actually has to be turned on a little bit, and that's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, leads the Chiefs wide receivers in snaps, but just not much going on in terms of production. So I know you're still in on Juju. You're not worried about Juju. We've seen production week 1. MVS right now. Do we have a panic level? Do we have a fear level here?
We do not, because we do not have any shares of Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yes, but for those that do.
Well, okay, fair enough. For other people that ignored me.
For the suckers out there.
Suckers out there that are sitting there with MVS, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I think it is welcome to Dumpsville population you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a Simpsons quote, right? And we use it on the old show. But, MVS to me is welcome to Dumpsville population you. Again, so this is a game in which Mahomes played well, magical at moments. 7 targets for Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He had a 20% target share, which was higher than any wide receiver on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And he finished.
By a good margin.
Right. I mean, right. And he was 2 for 13. So, like, in a game in which Mahomes played well, and he got a 20% target share and 7 targets, he only comes up with 2 for 13? No, thank you.
Yeah, there's no explosive plays with him right now. And I think when the Chiefs signed him, the thought was Tyreek's out. Yeah. MVS is in. He's going to be the new down-the-field guy. And the Chiefs are kind of showing you, if you're going to always take that away from us and you have a pass rush, you're facing a pass rush with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, we don't need those explosive plays to go down the field.
That's right. And, like, am I saying that MVS is not going to have a big game here or there? Of course he is. Like, if you're on the field with Patrick Mahomes, magical things happen. Just ask Jerick McKinnon, right? I mean, or anyone that started him last night, which I had to in a very deep league. And it paid off. What I would say is that I don't know that you're never going to know when to start Marquez Valdez-Scantling unless there is injuries, where significant injuries. And so, because Mecole Hardman can play that role as well. Juju Smith-Schuster is fast. He can play that role. By the way, we saw that Justin Watson last night can play that role. And just going there, by the way, that's another guy that's also rostered in a lot of leagues, Sky Moore. So the injury happens to Hardman, and it isn't Sky Moore that comes in. It's Justin Watson, who makes a really nice play, beats J.C. Jackson.
Turned him around.
Yeah. And so my point there is not that you need to rush out and get Justin Watson this year. I have him in a dynasty league. I like him as a deep dynasty flyer. And Sky Moore, I'm still high on him in dynasty as well. But a lot of people drafted Sky Moore as kind of this trendy sleeper in redraft, and he's another guy that he can't get on the field. When he couldn't get on the field in that situation, and it was Watson that went in ahead of him, what are we doing here with Sky Moore? You're going to need to see something. He's playing special teams.
Yep.
And so, like the long-term prospects of the young man, but in redraft leagues, I think you can safely drop him as well.
That tells me that they have some maybe playbook concerns, and it's not long-term because he's a rookie. It's week 2. But the fact Justin Watson, a guy that's hung around the league for a couple years, they're just more comfortable with that route.
Yeah. That was a real nice play with Justin Watson.
Big time. J.C. Jackson fully turned around.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%.
All right,
that one opened some eyes, I think.
Some good news.
And Mahomes addressed it in the post game. If you watch the post game on Prime, he actually addressed that and just saying that he worked out with him some this summer. And
he trusts him.
You're right, and he just said he called Veach and he said wait, who's this kid we just got? Because So anyway, he's opened some eyes certainly with Patrick as well.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yes, sir.
Good 2 weeks so far.
Yeah.
Using the passing game, broke off a big run, held onto the ball like he was running home with the groceries or whatever it was.
Like if I was running the ball with me out of foul.
That's
how I would do it.
All of us, yes.
Exactly.
Although I would get down instantly. He kept going. And he did slide down. But, I mean, really strong 2 weeks. It's clear that the role in this offense is evident as the guy so far. I don't know if you could trust his usage as a pure runner week after week, but you do like what you see in the passing game so far? Because it's a focal point right now.
You like what you've seen in the passing game. There's no question about it. Got the 6 targets, 4 for 44. Here's a concern, though. CEH ran well, right? I mean, again, so we talked about it this game. They gave them the underneath stuff, and so great. They're going to dump it off to CEH. They used a lot. I think if there's a positive takeaway, it's okay, if you're starting a Chiefs running back, it's clearly him. Going into the season, we thought this might be a 3-headed committee.
Yeah.
Is Isaiah Pacheco going to be a thing? Doesn't look like that 2 weeks in. He got some junk time last week. He didn't do really anything last night. So it looks like it is the CEH show with Jerick McKinnon on 3rd down and some 2-minute. He's faster than Edwards-Helaire. Here's my concern. He ran well last night. Still only got 12 touches.
Yeah.
118 total yards on 12 touches. Still played under 45% of snaps in both games. 10 touches week 1, 12 touches in week 2. Both games in which the Chiefs won. So, favorable game script in theory for a running back, right? And they were up big against Arizona, and they had to come back in this one, but still, I don't know, man. I think he's a flex play with upside, maybe a lower end RB2, but I don't know how much touchdown equity he's going to have. I know he had the 2 touchdowns in week 1. I think that's a little fluky. I'm just concerned that, again, he can't seem to break, it doesn't seem like you're ever going to see a game where he gets 15, 17, ever 20 touches. He's a 10 to 12 touch guy. Maybe he gets up to 14. So, again, solid RB2, clear pecking order now in the Chiefs running back, but I think still I'm pumping the brakes a little bit because he ran well and still isn't playing over half the snaps.
When you frame it like that, a guy also with a serious injury history,
yes,
he's always banged up. Is there any part of you that goes, maybe a sell high candidate?
Don't mind it.
Right?
Certainly don't mind it. Again, he's the head of a committee, but it's still somewhat of a committee, and it's a pass-first offense. It's a pass-first offense. So I just, again, and they're going to spread it around, and so if we could count on the passing game usage, that's interesting, and maybe teams will look at how the Chargers played them last night, but not everyone has the Chargers personnel to get away with that.
Not at all.
So that's I think he's a low-end RB2. But yes, if somebody is excited off the 2, it was an island game. A lot of eyes were on it last night. He had
running back desperation.
Right. He ran well in week 1. So yeah, I don't mind him as a sell high. But to me, if I'm ranking him for the rest of the season, I think he's in that 18 to 22 range.
All right, let's move to the Chargers,
yes,
the
sir.
Losing team with a nice backdoor cover. Well done by
Justin Herbert.
Gutsy.
Some people, and by some people I mean this guy,
yes,
are calling it the guttiest backdoor cover of all time by Justin Herbert.
All time.
Right, exactly. Our friend Jay Croucher, who is celebrating his 30th birthday this week, and he'll be back on Monday as well, but he tweeted out, no Chargers +4 better can say a bad word about Justin Herbert for the rest of life after what he just did for you. On one rib, on half a hamstring, couldn't even run for a first down.
Just threw the ball
down
away.
By 10. But he's like, no. There are guys like Matthew and Jay out there that believed us to cover. Cover first, win later.
Yeah.
Very important rule, as we ask all NFL players. Cover first, win later. And so that's what Justin Herbert did, the guttiest backdoor cover I've ever seen. And so some people are saying that.
And some people are.
Yeah, some people are.
They even could have kicked the field goal, then done the onside kick.
Sure.
That's
a higher percentage play.
That's how gutsy it was.
So gutty. Gutty. And by the way, and we'll talk about, we might as well get into the wide receivers here. Bailed out somebody that had Josh Palmer on his love list and talked him up to, and I'm getting grief on social media. And I'm like, guys.
After one quarter, people were like, yeah, you told us this would be great.
Right, exactly.
The promised land.
Yeah, exactly. Give me until the game's over before you troll me.
Literally, the end of the game.
Literally, and so, 10 seconds left.
Great.
Josh Palmer.
All counts the same.
All counts the same.
Never
in doubt. Never in doubt. All right, so let's talk about this because it's hard to really do. I don't want to take too much away from this because a few things. Again, short week, and they're on the road at a division rival against another good defense, and no Keenan Allen. So I don't know that you can really take anything away from, other than one of the reasons we liked Mike Williams and Josh Palmer coming into this game. Mike Williams made the love list. Josh Palmer was other receiving votes in the love list. By the way, Love Hate available for free on NBC Sports Edge and Rotoworld.com right now. I'm a company man. The fact is that we liked it because we'd seen their production without Keenan Allen. Another game without Keenan Allen, another game with production, with strong production. So to me, that's tellable. But I think what's important here, in the case of Josh Palmer, 91% of snaps. Mike Williams played 88% of snaps. They were out there for almost every snap. And if you're on the field with Justin Herbert, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It was something we talked about over the summer. Palmer's the guy that you draft to wait for an injury to Keenan Allen. And that injury happens, you get him on the field. But Mike Williams, a real week 1 dud. I saw more panic over Mike Williams than I have ever seen after 1 week. Comes out and dominates last night. And Justin Herbert looks for him early and often, even when covered, because he can win in those contested catch situations. 8 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Big bounce back from Mike Williams. Big bounce back, and this is what he does. And it's a little bit of a roller coaster with BMW.
Always is. Mike Williams is what it is. When you draft Mike Williams, this is what you sign up for, and he is somebody you put in your lineup every single week, and we just don't think about it because there's going to be some good and there's going to be some bad. But I believe that there will be a changing of the guard this year in Los Angeles and the Chargers, that by the end of the year, he will be the one, Keenan Allen will be the 2. That catch in the end zone, that one-handed catch that's what that guy can do.
Yes.
That's what that guy can do. And so Palmer is a nice piece as well. Again, I think he's a stash, And if Keenan Allen gets banged up again, which has happened over the course of his career at various times, it's worth noting. By the way, Mike Williams has also dealt with injuries. Each of the last 3 games that either Keenan Allen or Mike Williams has missed, Josh Palmer has scored. So, again,
it's going to be opportunity for him.
Right. I mean, like Palmer had a nice game, 4 for 30, gets bailed up by the touchdown, but 8 targets, again, played over 90% of the snaps, and he drew a big DPI, so a couple of bad throws that were just off.
Yeah.
That I didn't blame on him, just bad throws from Herbert. So good for those that stuck with Palmer, bailed out at the very end. Concern here about Austin Ekeler?
I do, because of, number one, the Sony Michel carry in the red zone was red flag. Number one, where it's like,
Sony
why?
Michel had more goal line carries than Ekeler. He had 2.
Yes.
Ekeler had 1. The fact that Michel didn't convert it, I think, is good for people that
Yes.
have Ekeler. But
still, I mean, now PPR, he's always going to get his, right? He's just 9 catches, 55 yards.
Yep.
Ekeler is
10 targets.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. It was a very horizontal offense from the Chargers. A lot of that swing pass to Ekeler and over and over again will make someone miss 10 yards. Yeah. But if you're looking for touchdown production right now and pure rushing production, I don't think this is a trend that's going to turn the right corner, personally. Here's
the concern. Last year, Ekeler, as you talk about the goal line, because that's one of the big things with Ekeler. We all know about the passing down usage and the passing game usage that's asked and answered.
Steady
that's
Eddie.
Always steady Eddie. The question going into last year was, would they use this guy at the goal line? Because the previous year, 2 years ago, he'd had very few touchdowns. He was my ride or die last year because I'm like, no, Lombardi wants to use him like Kamara. They're going to use him at the goal line. This is somebody that has 3 years ago had scored double-digit touchdowns, so I believe it will happen. And last year, of course, the 20 touchdowns. Concern is this year, as we heard talk in the offseason, like, hey, I don't want 250 carries again. Like, they want to limit my workload, so they bring in Sony Michel. They use Josh Kelly, candidly more than I thought they should last night. They did. We'll see if Isaiah Spiller gets out there at some point this year as well. He played over 70% of the running back carries inside the 5-yard line in 2021. This year, he's played under 63% of the snaps in both games. This year, he only went under that percentage 6 different times last year. So at least early on, seems like they're easing him in. Now again, road game, short week, on a division. Let's see what happens next week when he's had 10 days to rest. I mean, again, Ekeler, smaller guy, he's had hammy issues. So I'm concerned. I do think in terms of an actionable item, I don't think there's anything. I'm not trying to buy low on Austin Ekeler because I don't think you can.
No.
So if he was running back 3 before maybe he's running back 8 if you drafted today, but he's still an RB1 because he's still getting a decent amount of usage on a very good offense. And then the other thing is that I'm not trying to, so I don't think you'll be able to buy low. And I don't think I'm selling, low because it's like the upside of Ekeler is worth more than whatever quote unquote margin you might get. Now, if somebody wanted to trade you Saquon Barkley for Ekeler, okay, then I'm thinking about that. But that's the only trade that you might be able to get with. And I think after week 1, I think that would be very hard to do. So I'm just going to stay patient here with Austin Ekeler. What worth noting is that that line by the Chargers beat up left and right.
A lot of new faces.
Herbert was on his back all the time. I mean, again, we should talk, and we'll see. Coach Brandon Staley said he thought Herbert would be fine. He's getting more x-rays today. If we get news on that before the show ends, we will update you on that, obviously 10 days before Herbert plays again. But watch that news. 2 things here. Number 1 is watch the news on Herbert. If you have Herbert as a quarterback, obviously nothing you can do. Still had big numbers last night. But if we find out that potentially he might miss time, that the injury is more serious than they thought of at the end of last night, pick up a quarterback that has a good matchup week 3 before the games start. You're not picking up Chase Daniel. No. So, I'm just saying, if you're a fantasy manager with Herbert, look ahead. Don't wait for the games and then go into waivers next Tuesday. Be smart and figure out your starting quarterback for next week. Again, if we find out the news on Herbert is worse than what we hope it will be. But I think that pass rush is one of the reasons why Ekeler was so involved in the passing game.
Get your insurance before the flood. Pick up that quarterback right now.
There you go. I like that statement. Gerald Everett's a thing.
He is absolutely a thing. 10 targets, that was the team lead. 50-yard games both weeks so far. Even with Xander Horvath, the fullback, getting end zone. I mean, that's another reason to not worry about Ekeler, not worry about guys like that. That's not going to continue throughout the entire season, the rest of the month. But Gerald Everett, is this somebody that you can – we've been waiting how many years? You've been waiting how many years for this? That you can put in the lineup and walk away finally and say, every week I trust this guy.
Assuming Herbert's healthy? Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, a lot of people made this point that after that long run to get the Chargers down by the goal line, Everett was like, hey, I want to come out. He was gassed, but they're going hurry up, so he has to get there. He runs kind of a sloppy route, and that the pick six for the Chiefs might have been more on Everett than Herbert. You know, Herbert's got to have situational awareness. My guy's gassed. Go somewhere else with his throw, whatever. But they still, and you saw them talking on the sidelines if you watch the broadcast, next drive, he's going to Everett. And that again, the guttiest backdoor cover in history. What'd he do to get him there? It was a lot of Everett on that final drive. So Everett's out there in some leagues. He won't be after this week. But, I'm in on Gerald Everett. He was somebody we talked about a couple weeks ago as well. He was a preseason sleeper for me, and so far he's been paying off in a big way. We talked about him. Gerald Everett is a thing. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.